Hello. Today I'd like to talk about blame. Blame is so tricky. It's so easy to fall into blaming other people or yourself. I think blame is very counterproductive. It doesn't really solve the problem. It just kind of short circuits people into, well, some people, into temporarily feeling better without actually fixing the problem. So, I think it's really important to talk about, and that's why I want to talk about it. Today is, it's June of 2025. And over the last couple days, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened in the United States, which is where I live. Well, the thing that really, I'll just briefly touch on a couple things that really stuck out to me over the last few days. Let's see. One was political terrorism, assassination, murder of murder of a former Speaker of the House of Minnesota and a current senator of the Minnesota state. Actually, it was attempted murder of the senator. He was shot multiple times, and their spouses were shot. The spouse of the Speaker of the House died. Now, by a man who, allegedly, the suspect is someone who was also in politics. Also a Christian and someone who's anti-abortion. It's strange to me that somebody who's pro-life thinks the best way to get their message across is to kill people. The irony. Well, I know there's been some attempted assassinations, like of the president, and there's been senators like Senator Giffords of Arizona, who was shot in the head and survived, but several people she was with died. And of course, if you go back to 1960s, I believe, John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, all assassinated. Well, it's kind of a wake-up call. This country is sleepwalking into violence, political violence. Or maybe it's not sleepwalking, maybe it's actively choosing to go there. That's very concerning to me. This is a country that, when I was younger, people duked it out with words, debates, discussions, not bullets and murder and terrorism. So that really spoke to me. What else? I saw lots of people protesting in the streets. I saw cops on horseback and with long batons charging citizens on foot in the streets of LA. very strange picture to watch. The state on horses beating its own citizens. And citizens speaking up for themselves. It was called a No Kings protest. To express discontent of this country descending into authoritarianism. And all oligarchy. But yeah, that's essentially what it's about. Now, you may fall into a different category and think that those people are wrong. They shouldn't have done that. Well, the guy who killed the senator and former Speaker of the House was definitely wrong and shouldn't have done that. I think everyone can agree with that. And then the other thing that happened over the last couple of days is Iran and Israel attacking each other with planes and bombs and missiles and drones. It's been a lot. It's been a lot over the last couple of days. Well, how to make sense of all of this? How to make sense of the changes that are happening? Because life changes. No day is ever the same. How to make sense of the changes and the choices that we have. Well, I'll tell you a story about a broken dishwasher and what it has to do with blame. And we'll come back to those other stories. But before we start that, I'm going to show you this beautiful maple trees and the sunlight coming through the leaves. It's beautiful. All right. So, my mother-in-law is visiting, and we had lunch, and then she wanted to do the dishes. So she did the dishes and put them in the dishwasher. And I was editing a video to post on YouTube. And she came over and she said, "Hey, I can't get the dishwasher to work. It won't drain." So I went over there and I tried to turn on the dishwasher, but if I pressed any button, there were no lights or sound. It wouldn't turn on. And I opened up the dishwasher, it was full of dishes, and there's water at the bottom. Lots of water. And so I was like, what the heck? This thing's broken. Well, it's happened before. Oh, here's Doobie. Hey, girl. Well, I'll tell you what the thoughts that went through my head were. The first one was, man, this thing broke and I gotta fix it. But it's broken before, like a year and a half ago. And at that time, I couldn't fix it. So I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna fix it. And then the second thought that went through my head was, man, My mother-in-law broke the dishwasher. Okay. So let's just figure out what happened there. There's an unpleasant situation which requires attention, which also means that we're lacking a convenience that we used to have, the dishwasher. And there's uncertainty about how to resolve the situation. Okay, so that's what happened. And then the next thing my mind goes to is to assign blame, fault for the situation. Well, I'm not at fault. I didn't touch it. My mother-in-law was the last one to touch it. She broke it. It's her fault. So what's the point of that? By assigning blame, did that actually fix the dishwasher? No. Oh, she wants to smell. Did assigning blame fix the dishwasher? No. The dishwasher's still broken. Did it make me feel better to assign blame? Maybe, but it didn't fix the dishwasher. And did it make the other person feel better? No, it made them feel worse. It caused a separation. So now we have a broken dishwasher, we got blame, and a separation between two people living together. Well, I started trying to figure out how to fix the dishwasher. And I unscrewed it from where it was attached to under the underside of the kitchen counter so that I could slide it out. It's full of water, so water's now leaking onto the kitchen floor. And I didn't know what I was doing. I tried to do this before, I couldn't. I pulled up my phone and I Googled like how do you fix a dishwasher that won't drain. And on the Google search, it said to mop up all the water with a towel, because sometimes the water can trip a sensor and it won't work. It won't turn on. Okay, and that vaguely reminded me of the last time it broke. I couldn't figure out how to turn it back on, so I called the maintenance guy for the apartment complex, and he came and he unscrewed it from the brackets and then pulled it out, and then it started working again. I said, "Oh, how did you fix it?" And he said, "Oh, sometimes the water trips the filter sensor." And I was like, "What?" He seemed very non-committal about his answer, and I figured out later why. Yesterday, I figured out why. So, but he fixed it. It turned on, and he shoved it back into place, and it worked until yesterday. So, putting those two things together, I got a towel, and I started mopping up the water in the bottom, squeezing out the towel in the sink, going back and forth multiple times until I got all the water out. And then I saw that there's still water down in the filter. And then I remembered my wife saying she cleaned the filter a week ago before my mother-in-law came. Oh, the story gets more complicated. Maybe my mother-in-law wasn't to blame. Maybe my wife is to blame. she was messing with the filter and like cleaning it out, and maybe she clogged up one of the hoses. Huh. Maybe I was wrong to blame my mother-in-law. Maybe it was my wife's fault. Okay. Well, why would it be my mother-in-law's fault anyways? Because, like, she was just doing the dishes. Like, I do the dishes, and I pack the dishwasher. She didn't do anything different than what I normally do. That blame was misplaced. I shouldn't have blamed her. But maybe my wife's at fault because she was cleaning out the filter. Maybe in doing so, she like sent some junk down into the tube, the draining tube, and it clogged it up. It's like, oh crap! How the heck am I gonna clean out that? Just past the filter. And now I'm like flustered. I'm like, oh man, how am I gonna fix this? So I take apart the those are huckleberries. I don't know if they're ready yet. Are they good? Oh, here's some huckleberries. We'll try some. Nice orangish color. Let's see if this one tastes good. Very nice. They taste sweet and tart. Ooh, really tart, like sour. I've been waiting for these to come out. I think I was here like a week ago and they didn't come out. Amazing how things change so quickly. So if you're ever out in the Pacific Northwest, the way you tell it's an edible berry, well, there's several edible berries, but this one has these oval-shaped leaves and green stems. The stem is the same color as the leaf for this part. Now, down here is more wood brown color. And then these berries, they're like this. They got a little crown on the bottom. They can be this peach colored, or they can be black or blue like a blueberry. I think they're kind of like blueberries, but they're different. Blueberries are like more bunched up. These are more like separated in the berries. Very yummy. Doobie's whining, but I don't give her huckleberries because she doesn't like sour stuff. Now the hard part is figuring out where I left off. Okay, so there's a filter, and I'm like flustered about, crap, how am I gonna fix what my wife did? Oh, okay, but again, now shifting the blame to my wife. The dishwasher's still broken. It's not fixed. So what's the point? What's the point of blaming her? Is it just to make me feel better? I didn't do it. It's her fault. But now there's a separation. It was between me and my mother-in-law. Now I realize that was really faulty thinking. It's probably not her fault. So maybe that separation is slightly decreased. But now there's a separation between me and my wife. Literally the only two humans that are living in the apartment with me at this time. And I know it's not Doobie's fault because Doobie can't operate a dishwasher, so there's no separation there. Thank goodness. Or did she? Was it Doobie's fault? No. It'd be impossible. She's not tall enough to even push the buttons. Well, I took out the filter and there was some water remaining, and I kind of used the towel as a plunger to like plunge the outgoing drain tube. Still wouldn't turn on. So I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to like take this dishwasher completely out from the little cubby it's in underneath the kitchen countertop. So, I try to pull it out, but then the power cable is too short to completely pull it out. I can see through a crack behind the dishwasher that the power cable is completely taut and the plug is nearly pulling out of the socket. And I'm like, how the heck did they get this in there? Because nobody's arm is long enough to plug the cable in, or skinny enough to fit in the crack, just enough to like plug it in. So how the hell did they get this dishwasher in there? But the dishwasher turns on when it's pulled out. Oh, what's going on? Okay, I keep it on. And then I push the dishwasher in, and the power to the device goes out. But I pull it back to where the power cable is. Ooh, there's some red salmon berries up here. See, up here? Yes. Look at this one. Oh yeah. It's good. Not as tart as huckleberries. Well, I figured out that the dishwasher works when the power cable is taut. As soon as you shove it back into place, power cable is not taut anymore. Power goes out. Okay. This is an electrical problem. It's not my wife's fault. It's not my mother-in-law's fault. What the maintenance guy said was a bunch of baloney. He just happened to like pull it out the right way and get the contact working, and then he pushed it in in a way that is still working. And so he just like, maybe he thought that the sensor was tripped or something. So, I mean, I don't think he just made it up. I think that was probably his best guess as to what happened. But I don't think it was right. This was an electrical problem. Okay, so it's none of their fault. But how am I going to keep the electrical cable, the power cable, taut when I push it in? I can't even access it. I can't even pull the dishwasher all the way out from the cubby because the power cable is too short. And it's like, how the heck did they make this? I think what happened is they plugged it in, and then they built the marble countertop, or the whatever countertop it is. They built the countertop on top, or the walls or something. They built it. I don't know how they did it, but they built it in a way that you cannot access the power cable anymore. And so I think someone in the past tried to do maintenance on the dishwasher, and they kept pulling and pulling, and I think they pulled the electrical connections a little loose. And then they realized that they can't pull it out all the way. Okay, so now it's not anyone's fault in the house, but now it's the contractor's fault for building it this way. Why didn't they build it a different way? Or maybe it's not their fault. Maybe it's the dishwasher company's fault for putting such a short power cable. Don't they know that people put these in cubbies underneath the countertop? How the heck are people supposed to plug it in if the power cable's so short? It's their fault. Oh, maybe it's the engineer's fault who designed it. Okay, well, you can see where this is going. It's just like the blame doesn't really fix anything. It just causes separation between people. Well, to finish up that dishwasher story real quick, I figured out that if I tape the power cable, well, I got it unplugged using a stick. I unplugged it. And then I got an extension cable, and I used tape to like tape the wire taut, the power cable taut, so that it would maintain its contact even when it's pushed in. And I taped the extension cable taut too, and I plugged it in. So now whoever wants to do any maintenance on it, they can pull it out all the way and plug it in and unplug it. So maybe someday someone will pull it out and be like, what the heck is back here? Someone jerry-rigged this thing. That was me. That was Gooby. Well, the dishwasher works. My mother-in-law and wife are absolved of any blame. There might be some blame that still remains with the engineers who designed this dishwasher with such a short power cable, or the contractors who knowingly plugged this in knowing that no one would ever be able to unplug it or plug it back in under the current configuration. But the dishwasher is working. And what was the use of all that blaming? It just made bad feelings. Well, we have a much bigger problem than a broken dishwasher. We have a civilization that's crumbling. We have 8.2 billion people who are alive because we have a food system that creates a lot of food, but it does so unsustainably by cutting down forests. We have a one-time inheritance of million years of sunlight in the form of fossil fuel energy under the ground that we figured out how to tap the easy to reach deposits of oil, coal, natural gas, and we've used them up. And we're tapping harder to get resources of fossil fuels, deposits of fossil fuel that require more energy to extract, which means we get less energy in return to use for other things, like planting food, harvesting food, shipping the food around. Okay, we got a big problem. This is way bigger than broken dishwasher. What we got is a system, a civilization that cannot sustain itself the way it is right now. And in fact, it's destroying its own land base. It's destroying the living creatures that we share this planet with. And it will eventually destroy us too. This is way bigger than a broken dishwasher. Now, I think people can be more or less aware of what the underlying problem is. And there's no shortage of pointing fingers and blaming. Oh, it's the Democrats' fault. It's the Republicans' fault. It's the rich people's fault. It's the oligarchy. It's the president's fault. It's the Chinese fault. It's the Russians' fault. It's the Indians' fault. It's the Americans' fault. It's the Iranians' fault. It's the Israelis' fault. It's the Palestinians' fault. It's the illegal immigrants' fault. The list can go on forever. Now, I think that some people know this part of human psychology of the need to find blame and to feel better about yourself, and they weaponize that into creating scapegoats, like the illegal immigrants here in. One second, I'm gonna fix the I'm gonna fix her collar. Her leash is not on both. Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Thank you. The some people in this country, well, everywhere, they create scapegoats. In this country, it's people with brown colored skin who may or may not be illegal immigrants. The way they weaponize it is they say that there's illegal immigrants who are murderers and rapists who are coming across the country border illegally. That is the way they weaponize this to create blame. Hi. Hello. Does that fix the problems of deteriorating quality of life? Does that fix the problems of increased cost of living, housing problems? Does that fix the problems of severe wealth inequality and the rich giving themselves tax breaks at the expense of decreased life-giving benefits to the majority of the population? The blame doesn't fix the problem. It just makes one group of people feel a little bit better about themselves, and it separates them from others. Well, in other countries, I know that in Canada, Indian immigrants are blamed for a lot of problems. It's usually immigrants or a religious group that's a minority. They're scapegoats. The Middle East has multi-generations of scapegoats in this genocide that's happening in Gaza, and then now this war between Israel and Iran. So let's see here. So I mentioned 3 stories at the beginning: the Iran-Israel war, the political assassination and terrorism by murdering and attempted murder of 2 Democratic politicians in Minnesota. And then the other one was the protest. Yeah, the protest with police on horseback beating citizens in the streets of LA. Well, what would happen if we just let go of blaming people? What would happen? Hi, good morning. Good morning. What would happen if we let go of blaming people and just looked at the problem logically and with full awareness? The problem is so big that I think it takes many people's minds to look at it in its entirety. I think it's bigger than one person's consciousness. So you would have to look at it with multiple people. But if people are blaming each other for their worsened quality of life, their deteriorating living conditions, then that just separates us. And of course, you got bad actors who are weaponizing blame to gain political power, to gain people's consent to do things. So What if we just said, yeah, we realize that blame is part of the human psychology, but we're gonna just consciously put that to rest right now so we can come together without divisions, without separation. We'll come together, everybody, because we're all in this together. Like, this problem affects everybody, even the unreached tribes living on North Sentinel Island, who have lived a hunter-gatherer lifestyle there for like 50,000 years or something like that. And they've only had very few interactions with modern civilization. Even them, this problem affects them. The seas are going to rise, the weather, the climate changes, the fish are being overfished, plastic is probably washing up on their shores. Even they're being affected, even though they're probably the most isolated group of people. So literally everyone is in this together. The more we blame each other, the more we separate ourselves from each other, the harder it is to see this problem in its entirety, and it makes it impossible to do anything about this problem. So I think the best thing to do is to acknowledge that, yes, we all have a psychological trap of wanting to blame, to create a scapegoat, to create an outcast, to exile somebody, to kill them. But that doesn't solve the problem. Killing those Democratic politicians in Minnesota doesn't solve the problem for that man who did that. Lobbing ballistic missiles and drones at each other across country borders is not going to solve the problem. Letting politicians have power because they say things that make you feel slightly better about yourself, because they say that some people that don't look or talk like you are the reason why your life sucks, and that we should exile those people or murder them. That's just going to make the problem worse. It's going to increase the division. So I think that with politicians or media that try to weaponize blame, we should just say, no, we're not going to listen to that. We are going to work together, because this problem is bigger than any one of us, and we need everyone to work together. And if you don't want to work together for the common good, you can take a hike until you decide you want to work with the common good, because this is a big problem. Well, those are my observations while trying to fix a dishwasher yesterday, and thinking about blame, and also thinking about these things that were very disturbing over the last few days of the Israel-Iran war, well, the genocide that's been going on in Gaza for over a year now, the politically motivated murder of 2 Democratic politicians in Minnesota, and watching citizens get beat by police on horseback in the streets of LA. Yeah. Well, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. not interested in hearing any continuation of blame and fear-mongering that we all hear way too much in mainstream media and social media. The whole point of this talk is that that's counterproductive. So I'm not interested in hearing that. But I'm interested in hearing other people's opinions about how we can come together and decrease the separation and division in us. Bye.